we bring you World of Art practitioners, which are the artists themselves. We go to their studio for this quarter to bring you the conversation directly from the studios, as some of these artists will be having a practical session of what it means to be a painter, a sculptor, a textile artist, whatever the guest on the program is. Today, we have quite an amazing guest on the program, but we will be going on this short break. Let me also remind you that What of Art is brought to you by Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, legal practitioner, Africa's largest private art collector, grand donor and chairman of Council, Yemisi Shilon Museum of Art. With collaboration, in collaboration with Society of Nigerian Artists, Ogun State Chapter. My name is Miriam Usman. Please stay with us, and when we return, we'll bring you the guest on the program today. Thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching World of Art on OGTV. Today we are joining an art educator right here in her field, and she's going to tell us how she does this wonderful work. I mean, you must have seen the piece behind us, and some of our work will also be displayed shortly on the screen. We're joining Mrs. Kemi Opanusi. Thank you so much for having us on the program today. But I want you to, introduce yourself more than I've introduced you earlier on the program.
All right then, viewers. My name is Oluwafola Kemi Opanusi, or simply put, Kemi Opanusi, like she rightly said. I'm a painter, graphic designer, and art educator. I actually obtained my first degree from the University of Obafemi Awolowo, where I specialized in painting as a major. And currently I'm undergoing my master's degree in the prestigious UNILAG.
Beautiful. So let's talk about art for you. I'm going to ask you, how long have you been teaching art?
I must have taught art for about 15 years now.
15 years?
Since 2011.
That is more like a passion. Was it something you've always wanted to do?
Definitely. Art is something I've always wanted to do. That's the essence of me choosing the course, because I remember back then in 2001, when I got admission to the prestigious OAU, fellow Jambites, when we meet, as we are gisting, they'll be like, oh, what course are you studying, or what's your discipline? And you say, fine art. They say, oh, is that what they gave you? I said, no.
This is what I chose it. Wow.
And my name came out on the merit list for that matter.
That's really nice, because it's always the reverse case where people apply for something else and they're given. And I think it's one of the reasons why people do not give the respect that is rightfully due to art.
Well, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and on this side of the world is somehow that so many people do not really understand art, but where art is deeply understood, you know the value of it, and you know that art is just life.
Art is just life. Well, thank you for walking us through that. I mean, for a couple of weeks now, we've been featuring art educator on the program. It can only mean that, the study of art is very active in not just tertiary institution, but also in the secondary school level. Let's talk about that. How has it been like teaching art in secondary schools, for over 15 years, like you mentioned?
Yes, it's been amazing. It's been fulfilling, to be able to inspire creativity in some younger mind is something that gives me a sense of satisfaction, because, like I usually tell them at times, I didn't have such an opportunity. While I was growing up, though I had the intention to study the art, it was unfortunate that we didn't have art teacher in my school, so I had to study on my own for most of the exams that I took, including SSC or GC, which I took later on, and JAMB. you know. So it's been wonderful to see your own, do we call them disciples now, or learners, or mentees, doing amazing and wonderful things. For instance, over the decades, my team or my mentees or students have won even national awards. For instance, the National Toyota Art Contest in the school where I taught before I got here, we won that for 6 consecutive years back to back. You know, and at some point they had to give the school award and give some reward also to the coaches, of which I'm part. So it's amazing. Even on the pages of some newspaper publications, I have the record of this thing I'm talking about.
I see how proud you are. It's actually a very beautiful feeling to do something and see people, see the immediate impact in the lives of people. It's a very beautiful feeling, I must say. But let's also look at the fact that in some secondary school, for instance, a lot of talents are dying on a daily basis because some schools are not awakened to that reality of, you know, what the studies of art in secondary school can do for young individuals. So I want you to talk about, you know, the essence of your line of work in the lives of young people.
Chiefly, every student who have the opportunity of studying art will have freedom of expression, because we do define arts to them as the expression of one's innermost feeling or thought about just anything, including the society. You know, art, that is where the subject art and society comes in. And for every child that studies the art, the importance of art can never be overemphasized, in the sense that it cuts across all other subjects, if I may say. Take a look at the sciences, for instance. Even when you go to the world of aeronautics, I want to talk about, or automobile designs and all of those things. In fact, all of the products in the market, when you talk about a commercial world now, they pass through the artist at one point or the other. Someone will have to design the packages, that is graphic aspect. Someone will have to design the adverts, the product labels, the banners, the signboards, the billboards, all of those that we see. Even during election or campaign or any other, you know, political programs, artists are the ones involved in the creation of the posters, you know, and various souvenirs that people use around. So for any student studying art, in my few years of teaching the art, I've seen even science students who did not even drop art up till their WAEC level. Yes, some of them have had to do it in the IGCSE, for those of them that want to study abroad. So I've watched young ones with passion, because, I mean, taking the subject art, because it inspires creativity. There's a way art enables the way you think. Your concept about life generally, or about any other subject, be it science, be it commerce, be it entertainment, art is just everywhere and very useful, even in mathematics. I used to tell my students, you must just learn art, because before you find the area of a trapezium, a square, the circumference of a circle, you must be able to draw it, construct it at least, and recognize it. So it's all about shapes, colors. It's a beautiful world.
And I like that you've been able to break that down for us, and it's just beautiful. I mean, whoever is watching right now who did not study art at a tender age might be at some point tempted and wish they had studied art. You know, I wish I studied art. You know, I love art so much, but there was no part at which, you know, there was an opportunity to even learn about art in the classroom. This might just be a story for many Nigerians. The conversation continues on World of Art, where we bring you these practitioners and they tell you more that you need to know about art, the practice of art in our society, and the advantages there are to visual arts. Stay with us, we'll be right back. thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching World of Art on OGTV. Well, we've been having a very beautiful conversation with Madam Kemi Opanusi, and she's been walking us through what it means to be an art educator in one of the reputable secondary schools around here in Abeokuta. So before we left, you told us your background of art, the joy you derive in practicing art, particularly in teaching it, and you did not stop. You're advancing your own personal learning experience. Right now you're also studying art at an advanced level. But I wanted to ask you, was there a point where you were teaching and you saw the extraordinariness in some of the students in their display of work, something that is beyond the normal, something that you felt like, oh my God, I just discovered a talent, in the process of your teaching?
Definitely. I can recall several occasions anyway, but let me maybe cite two instances. There was one of my students while we were grooming them for the Toyota National Art Competition, like I mentioned earlier. He was to design a car, a futuristic car that has never been seen. I think he took his theme from an insect, and then, but the environment is not even about the car now. The environment whereby he puts the car so much amazes me. His ability then as a year 10 student to
year 10, that's SS2?
SS1. His ability to depict perspective, the perspective of the environment, that is a kind of aerial perspective, as if he was seeing the world. Aerial, as if he was seeing that environment from a plane or helicopter, whereas he was just seated in a classroom right there, and then I gave it to him. At another occasion, another year 8 child, that's GSS2, also came up with a kind of thought for another futuristic car. We titled that, I think that was 2017, was one of the national winning award winning entry too. It was titled, he took inspiration from scorpion. The normal insects that people should be afraid of and all of that. So by the time I was walking around, we usually have a couple of them in the art room, and we'll be inspiring them, okay, do it this way. We'll be guiding them, but they have the original initiative. Oh, immediately I saw it. I said, this is Toyota Scorpido, and it is a winning entry, even before we went. So he kept at it, and immediately he noted the name. As of then, he didn't even know the name. So that's how we work together. They have the initiative. We help them to spur it up. Before you know it, they are there, and they are doing very wonderfully, very wonderfully.
Amazing to hear that, but this conversation will not be complete if we do not see you get busy. The practical session, I always tell people, art is a partition of practicals. You have to practice art, and it's not just by talking. It's also something very relatable. So you have your canvas here, the brush. You're already in the mood. You're in your apron. So what are you drawing for us today?
Well, this is just a mini canvas, if I may say. I enjoyed working with very large canvases, but for this occasion, I will just manage this. And there's a very simple theme that anyone can understand. I'm trying to paint here a trophy. So I intend to title this "Stand Up for the Champion." Any champion in any athletic or Olympic Games things, the ultimate goal or aim is to go with a trophy, win the medal, the golden medal, of course. Nobody really dream of, what do you call those, tall dance?
Nobody wants to hear that, the first runner.
Nobody wants yes, so the golden medal, which is first position, also slightly hanging down the trophy, the golden trophy, to declare that I'm a winner and I'm a trophy.
All right, so just get to it. Let's see how you do it.
Okay, so here I have my palette.
You want me to help you, Benny? You have
never
different
mind.
colors of...
Yes, as a painter, like I told you earlier on, that was my area of specialization in Polytechnic Ibadan. Sorry, in OAU now. I forgot to mention that I've been to the Polytechnic Ibadan before going to OAU. I went through what is called certificate course. I had to do that for the fact that I did not have a secondary school art teacher, and that gave me a very good background in the department of graphics and printing technology. That's why I can also say I'm a graphic designer today. So in painting this simple still life, we'll call it, I've chosen complementary colors, so to say. The families of yellow, orange, we go for the trophy itself, while the background is chiefly blue to represent to represent peace or the sky. So I've started from darker tone down there, and I'll be tinting it upward. Tinting means, in painting means the addition of white to any color. The more you tint, the lighter the color becomes. So I'll stick it I choose to start with the background. Thereafter, I'll return to the main object, which is the trophy. There we go.
So for how long would this possibly take you to make this from start to finish?
Oh, well, as a very tiny canvas, it could actually take up to 3 hours, especially when I get to the background is easier to work out. So far, I must have spent less than 20 minutes, on it to this stage. But by the time you get to the main object, and I'm trying to portray realism this time around, meaning I have to take my time to make the trophy look real. So, but at most, in the next 3 hours, I guess I should be through. The work should be totally finished.
I just remembered in those days, I know someone who knows how to draw, but he never had an art teacher. But along the line, he got, I think the parents got him an art teacher, private tutor. And every single time this art tutor comes around, he's always amazed that this boy goes extra mile. So where he teaches and stuff, he expects that when he comes tomorrow to pick up from there, but this boy is already doing maybe ×2 of whatever was taught in the previous day. And then he just one day told the woman that I don't think your child needs a tutor because he's really doing more than expected. Have you had such scenario with students before?
Definitely. I think my son is a typical example.
He draws.
Yes, he's currently studying the art also in the University of Afwed. That's Adeyemi Federal University of Education right now. So the very first day he grabbed my canvas and was going to paint. He even started with a couple's portrait. And I was like, no one has ever taught you, and he wanted to use oil color for that. What I'm using right now is acrylic, and it's believed that it's more easier to manage than oil color. So I was like, no one has even taught you how to use oil color to paint, and yet you are not even starting with a single person's portrait, you are going for 2. But before I knew it, the guy conquered the work and was able. So what am I trying to say? Art, to a certain degree, for many artists, is inborn, you know. It could be more of talent than what you learn in school. But for some of us as well, it's also something you can have, you know, the level of talent may now vary. It may be a tiny talent, but with time, you can nurture it and become a boomerang. The more time you devote to it, the more you practice, the more, the better you become at your art. And you know, we have different kinds, like designing, textile design, all those photography, graphic design, where you use a lot of computer works and all the animation, and then you come to the real fine art. You'll be talking about painting like I'm doing now, you'll be talking about sculpture, and many more like that. So it depends. And then when you talk about the theoretical aspect of art, maybe at the higher level now, we have art history, art criticism, which is also very, very important for any typical artist to at least have a general knowledge of. You'll be able to defend your work. You can write volume about this simple little piece, even as small as it is. If you are a student of the art history or, you know, of art appreciation.
Well, talking about art appreciation, do you get to exhibit your work here, you know, for your student? Is there a time where you set aside for your student to just come around, look at the work they've done and appreciate themselves?
Definitely. That's about is an important or an integral part of art training, you know, art appreciation, which is closely related to art exhibition. There's no way you will appreciate certain artworks without possibly displaying them. That is exhibition. And then you begin to talk about them in a constructive way. We call it constructive criticism. That means you'll be able to say what is interesting, the strength, and of course, you may not want to jettison the weakness. There would be, whatever be the weakness of such, you know, creative ingenuity. The whole essence is for the artist to know where they are coming from, where they are right now, and where they need to be.
Well, what you just watched is a still life painting of a beautiful trophy. This is art, the practical form, and when we bring you this conversation, we don't just want to bring people to talk about it. We don't just want artists to talk about it. We want them to show you what it means to be a practitioner and what art means in the practical form. This is World of Art on OGTV, brought to you by Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, legal practitioner, Africa's largest private art collector, Grand Donor and Chairman of Council Yemisi Shilon Museum of Art, in collaboration with Society of Nigerian Artists, Ogun State Chapter. My name is Miriam Usman. I'll see you next week, God's willing. Bye for now.